Hello, welcome to the Writing Gals. Today we are so excited that we are going to talk about serialized fiction. We've been getting a lot of questions, especially about Kindle Vella, but there's a lot more to it than just that one platform. So we're going to explore all of serialized fiction today. But before we do that, we always have to check in and see how everybody's doing. So, Laura, let's start with you.
Is that me?
It's you.
You're What's my name?
It's been a long week already. Huh?
I was already thinking about what we're going to talk about, so I completely spaced it. This week, everything's been sort of coming together for me. Finally, I've had all in on TikTok, all in on ads, all in on mindset, and now I'm putting all these pieces together, and now it's time to grow. So this month is all about leveling up, upscaling, and it's really fun because in the past, whenever I reach a level that I'm not used to, where I think I'm growing, there's this voice that goes, "Oh, you don't belong here," and then I self-sabotage to get myself back down to where I'm comfy or where I'm used to being. So I'm pushing through those walls and working on that, and I'm finally writing again. So I'm working on a contract marriage billionaire rom-com, which I'm loving so much. I'm giving myself permission to write all of the juicy things that you want to write, and just as long as it feels good, just keep going. So it's almost like writing fan fiction, where you just feel totally free and you're like, I'm just going to write a guilty pleasure and see how it goes. It might be that in the editing stage it's a mess, but that's where I'm at the moment. I'm very happy. I've got 4 books in progress at the moment, so I'm hoping to finish a few, because I hate having more than one on the go at the same time. But yeah, it's going well.
That's awesome. I love seeing you so happy and positive. And yeah, I always, you said that you hate having more than one, and I'm I always have more than one, but I'm always a chaotic mess. So, all right, Anne-Marie, tell us about your current projects, life, whatever you want to talk about.
I finally figured out how to, something I was taught by Victorine a long time ago, but then seemed to have forgotten, and about flattening your image for your PDF, your paperback, and that makes the processing of your file on KDP go so much faster. So I was able to knock out a bunch of my paperbacks and hard copies to get those finished. So that has been very freeing. I have a couple more to do until I decided to change all my billionaire covers again. So I'm a work in progress, but I definitely have much more of a system down now. I had a TikTok that didn't get a ton of views for what is a normal big hit TikTok. It got about 30,000 views, but it got that one book to 400 in the store, which I don't think had ever happened on that book before. In one day, it shot us up pretty high. So I talked with my co-writer. We changed the covers of that series. We've started ads on that series. And it's just kind of let's use this knowledge that I've gained and let's start rocking and rolling with these series, because people still want them. People still need them. I had a breakthrough last month when I was doing a lot of this mindset talk. And I was we as authors, we assume that books have a shelf life, right? And they're only going to be important to readers for the first 30, 60, 90, 100, half a year that the book is released, or when you're active releasing in that series, that's when readers care about it. And I was telling them, I was I just wish I was just as excited about this book as I was when I released it. And then I got to thinking, no, but it should be like a new release, because every reader I find, to them, it's a brand new book. They've never seen this before, even though to me, I'm it's 2 years old. So trying to look at my books differently and realizing we haven't even scratched the surface of the number of readers who want to read the series. And it's my job to go out and find them. And like Laura was talking, doing a lot of mindset. So I don't remember if we were on the podcast, but Michelle at one point was talking to us about how success isn't a slope, it's a staircase. And how when you hit the end of the riser of the stair you're on, you have to find a way to go up to get to the next level. And one point, Laura was working on her ads and she texted me and she was like, please talk me off this cliff. And I was like, we need to change our mindset from talk me off a cliff to talk me up this riser to the next stair, because it gives the projection of success and climbing instead of way we always look at it. My rank will inevitably die. My sales will inevitably die. So a lot of mindset work, a lot of backlist work, because I have so many books and series. But yesterday night I wrote like 1,500 words in my work in progress, because I took time to like think through and be like, I think I need to change like where I'm starting my book at, because I think that's what's been also holding me back. So I'm actually really excited. And like Laura, just filling the book with so many juicy details, things that you're excited to write and what you want to see in a book. But I'm excited once I get all my backlist stuff and my ads running, then I can just focus on filling my bucket and just writing, getting back into it. But right now I'm just so focused on doing this other stuff that I'm allowing myself to be okay with the fact that I don't write every day. And writing, I write once or twice a week, and that's it. But eventually I'll get there. That was a lot. Sorry.
It's okay. We love hearing about it. I've been writing too this week. I've designated April as a writing month for me because I'm finally in a good place to do it, and I'm really excited about my stories. But I realized I'm never going to be successful in my current life situation to really count on having writing hours during the day. And so I've been trying to get into the habit of waking up at 5 a.m. to write. And I did it twice this week. And then I had a couple of days that I wasn't able to do it because of outside factors. But I'm really getting back to like tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., Saturday morning, 5 a.m. And I'm going to be just trying to get my body to where my internal clock is set to do that, because it is amazing how much more I'm able to be creative and be focused. If I'm up before anybody in my house is, nobody is bothering me, nobody needs me. And because of my ADHD, this is the most important part. We have an issue where even if we start out motivated and excited, anything that interrupts us in that like forward momentum derails us for the whole day. And it's just so hard to get back into it. And so, if my kids stress me out when I'm taking them to school, or I have to go to like a doctor's appointment or like anything like that, it's so hard for me to get started again for the day. But at 5 a.m., nobody in the world needs me. Nobody. And so it's really working for me. And I've already had almost as much, like my word count is almost as high for this week as it's been for any of the 3 previous months this year.
Wow.
So that's a huge difference for me. And I'm just excited. I'm also working on my Kindle Vella book, King's Prep Academy, it has been completed since February. We're about to publish it as a standalone book. And so we're working on covers, formatting. Hopefully we'll be able to get it out to ARC readers and start doing some promotions on it. I'm really excited to have a release. I have not had a book released since July of last year. So it's been a hot minute for me. So I'm excited to finally be publishing again. And I should hopefully have just, a new rom-com that I'm hoping to get out at the beginning of June. And first, my fantasy series possibly out by the end of May, mid-June. Like, I'm not exactly sure where that's going to fall. So, yeah, I'm going to have 3 projects, like, coming to fruition in the next few months. And I'm just super motivated. There's nothing like those victories to feel like you're okay. Plus, my little baby ad is helping me to build my backlist income too. So I'm excited. Okay, let's get to talking about serialized fiction, because that's why we're all here today. And I just want to preface it by, like, if you guys are watching right now and you have questions, please leave the questions on the side. We'll try and get to them for sure. But next week we're going to try and do a whole Q&A on serialized fiction, Kindle Vella, all that stuff. So that you can ask like very specific, detailed questions that we may not touch on today. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the first question is, why write serialized fiction or publish your stories as serialized fiction? Anybody want to jump in on why you're doing it?
I think it allows you to, this is not personally why I'm doing it, because I'm only on Radish because Radish reached out to me and said, can we put your books on Radish? And I said, you pay me, sure. And then they paid me and they took them and now they're there. But I would like to think when I do get into writing for serialized fiction, you get to explore a lot more than you could like in a novel. So you could have storylines, you can have more characters, you can have more exciting things going on. And I, like Michelle, watching her write it, she gets very excited for every chapter, and it's a very accomplished feeling where instead of me sitting down and be like, okay, you got to write a 60,000 word book, I just, you've done this. And I that's what attracted me to it, is I just have to write one chapter this week and that's it. And I'm done and I can put it to bed and I can move on. And so I really like that. Plus, I think there's a whole group of people who don't want to read novels, who want to consume stuff in tiny chunks, and prefer, like, younger generational type people prefer fiction that is more like that because they're used to Wattpad, which was the same type of thing. So that's why I would go on if I was ever to write specifically for serialized fiction.
Yeah, you have published a Kindle Vella story, but it was already written before, so you didn't write like as you went. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just took it. It was done, and I was like, okay, well, I have like a month and a half to publish it, so let me try Kindle Vella, and it did well. I mean, I made over $1,000 on it, so I'm like, hey, might as well.
Yeah, that's the greatest part for me about Kindle Vella as like a financial revenue source, is that like it doesn't really take much more effort. It just takes a little bit of advanced planning, and you can not only increase your income on that particular story, but like pretty much in a lot of ways I consider it to be like what pays for my editing, what pays for my covers. And so like I'm in the black before it goes live as an ebook or paperback. So I love that.
Well, and if you put it on Vella first, then it can always stay on Vella. You don't have to take it off. Right. So then you can either go to KU, you could publish it wide, and I'll publish it to the other platforms, but it allows you to be on that platform first and stay there. So I'm like, Laura, honestly, I would put your next fantasy book up there and push all your fantasy readers to it.
Well, I would, but I'm in England.
Yes, you can't yet. They haven't opened it up.
Just do it.
I'll have to look into that. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll open it up soon to international markets. I mean, I don't know when they're going to. They are going to, because
I saw somewhere that it already was.
I would have heard that would have blown up in the Kindle Vella groups that I'm in.
Maybe this was a crazy person talking then.
It might have been. But like the international readers, like international for me, not for Laura, is the market for serialized fiction. That's where most of the market exists, is in these countries where they're used to that already. The majority of the serialized fiction platforms out there, besides like Wattpad, and I don't know where Radish is based from, but so many of them, like if you think about it as like the games and all of the webtoons and comics and IP novels, like every other country, it seems like, has a lot more of these platforms going, like succeeding and having a huge market. And so Vella is going to go international soon. I really think they're just trying to work out all the kinks, and it's really in beta for them. Like people keep thinking that because it's been going since August or July of last year that it's not in beta anymore, but Amazon definitely considers it still as being in beta because they're still adding new features. Just a week or two ago, they added the option to add polls to the end of your episodes. And, authors have been saying, hey, we want another way to interact with our readers where like they can give us more feedback. And so Amazon just added polls. And I did my first poll at the end of an episode, and it was so fun because I got to say, leave it on a cliffhanger right before the kiss or the almost kiss. And then I got to say a poll like, hey, should you kiss him or not? And it was just really fun to see the poll numbers come in, the percentages of my readers saying yes or no. So it's fun. And so, but it also tells me that they're still building this platform. I also saw a screenshot. I'm going to start when someone else is talking. I'm going to try and find the screenshot so I can be a little bit more accurate of how many ads Facebook is running to market Kindle Vella right now. It is a lot. So Laura, why do you have your book on Radish, or books or stories or whatever you got going?
Well, it's again, it's another stream of income. Vella is not available in England, so beggars can't be choosers. Well, actually, the funny story with Radish and me was that I got FOMO because, who was it? I think it was Karina Taylor. Karina, I'm looking at you. She posted in a group like, "Oh my goodness, I just got accepted to write for Radish. I can't believe it." She was asking for advice, and of course, me being a wonderful, supportive friend, did not offer any advice, but instead went and hunted out what Radish is so that I could do it too. I did message her after. So we talked about it. But so with Radish, you have to apply. You can't just upload your stories on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through this whole application process, and I feel so silly because they were like, pitch what story you're going to put on Radish. And I was like, I'm going to write this. And like, I did not write what I said I was going to write. I did like the craziest, like, it's like all these friends, and it's going to be like Friends in New York, but it's not like Friends. It's like my version of Friends. And I did not write that. And they were like, yeah, come on in. So yeah, I've also found that it's been a really good way to get out of writer's block and to get excited about writing again. And it's just having that small incremental growth of your story. I really liked what you said, Anne-Marie, about exploring multiple plot lines. I'm excited because I want to work on doing serialized fiction from scratch, because so far I've just been turning my books into serialized fiction, and it's not the same at all. It's really not the same. Thankfully, I wrote my chapters in my books with sort of a cliffhanger at the end anyway, because that's what we do, isn't it, to make it a bit more hooky. But I see there'll be a huge benefit to actually just writing on that platform and producing more content that can be a book later down the line. And you can sort of, I think, play around with different things that you might not necessarily. So if your pen name is mostly rom-com, but you want to give fantasy a go, there's no reason why you can't try it out on Vella or Radish. And what you do is you get feedback really fast. So if people are reading it, that's a good sign that it's good. And if people are putting comments and giving you feedback, you can get feedback that way. So it's a bit like Wattpad as well. You get that kind of instant feedback on your writing, and see, where it's almost like your readers, if you can find them early enough, they can choose their own adventure. Be like, I love that with the poll, you could give the readers power and be like, what should she do next? Should she answer the phone, or should she go to the door? Oh, I loved those games. Did you play them as a kid?
I never did, but I've heard of them, and I think they would be
those
so fun.
games.
They have like a Bear Grylls has one where you can say what you want Bear Grylls to do. Like the guy who does the outdoor stuff, like, does he eat the beetle, or does he, throw it off a cliff? And then you get to decide. My kids love it. They watch like all of them.
Yeah.
So I found that screenshot I took of this post in one of the Kindle author groups. So someone had a screenshot where they had gone in and seen how many ads they were running, Facebook ads Amazon was running. It was 1,100.
Wow.
Amazon was running 1,100 Facebook ads for Kindle Vella. So if anybody feels like it's one of Amazon's projects that they don't care about, or they're just going to let die, no, they are investing heavily in it. They are investing so much money in author bonuses. They are listening to the authors and adding a lot of features that the authors are requesting, and they're clearly advertising it, even though it's only in the US right now. They're also giving away hundreds of free tokens. It started out as being like 200 free tokens, and then they started giving away 500 free tokens to readers. So they're trying really hard to build this program. So you guys have definitely covered the reasons that I started writing for Kindle Vella, and I think that I've talked about it a lot on our podcast before. So I'm going to move on to talking about.
Can I say one thing, Michelle?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that money, like, and I don't know necessarily with Vella right now with bonuses is really great. I don't know how it's going to be in the future, but at RAM last year, an author was talking, and she's writing traditionally, so she can't write any new stuff. So she's been going to all these platforms and putting up her existing books, and she's making 5 figures a month with old backlist material that she's putting up on these serialized for like fiction places. I know authors who write sweet on Amazon, and then they take the same book and make it steamy on Radish and Wattpad. So there is a huge market for serialized fiction. And if you can get in on it and you can get a system going, or you can figure out a way, TikTok is a great way to send people to serialized apps. I don't even know how many times I always get, oh, this is a Wattpad story. So there's a whole ton of people there that read that way. There's what you can definitely make really good money writing serialized fiction. So it is not something to kind of snub your nose at all. So that's a huge reason, I think, for me writing serialized fiction would be making money.
Yeah. So like I have 3 stories right now in Kindle Vella, but one of them I kind of abandoned for just a little while. Like get some other stuff done. But between them all, including the one with my co-writer, I've made $13,000 to $14,000 doing it since July, and it's going a little bit down because I haven't been as productive. But I have, and I, also there's a little more competition to it. But at the same time, I'm seeing that royalties are starting to be a little bit higher, like beyond just the bonuses. So like I've made around $50 or $60 on like one story a month for royalties. And so that kind of shows me that over time, even if they eventually start phasing out the bonuses, which I've heard they have no plans to do anytime soon, that there's starting to be a big enough reader base that wasn't there in the beginning, that you're actually seeing readers spending tokens and staying in the, in the marketplace there on Kindle Vella and reading. Because, and I'm just seeing the number of people who follow my story and like my story and that sort of thing. I just think the readers are starting to discover it and stick around and really like what they find there. So I have a lot of confidence that, like, even if it was just royalties down the road, especially when you add in international readers, then I think there's some real possibilities there. So how is the audience for serialized fiction different? And like, are you like, do you want to try and pull in your current audience for serialized fiction or find a new one? Any guesses?
This is the one problem I had with Radish contacting me. Because when I signed the contract with them, I had to send out emails to my newsletter, which I don't think I've done yet, but I don't think my newsletter, I promoted them on TikTok a lot. So I have forgiven myself. I've forgiven myself. I don't know if they have. It's really hard to change people from where they're used to. And the other thing for me and Radish was that I was like, my fans have already read these books. Like, I don't know why telling them that on Radish is going to affect them. So I would say no. I would say maybe a select few people you could jump off, the deep end with that. But it's a whole different type of reader, in my opinion.
I think it is too. And that's actually one of the benefits of it in my mind, is that there are all these readers that have different, interests as far as like how they consume media. And I can't reach them with my novels, but I can reach them with serialized fiction. And so like a lot of people have been complaining that they can't move their readers over. And I'm like, oh, that's not necessarily what we're trying to do here. We're trying to find all new readers. And the good thing is with Kindle Vella, you can't publish anything old on Vella. You can only do like, this is the first place it's ever been published. But once I attract readers and they decide they like my writing, all I have to do is tell them in my author notes and my bio and different things like that, like, I have 35 stories on here. If you like this, then go read this, So there's no ability to click by like have clickable links yet because they don't want to move people out of Kindle Vella. They want them to stay there. But you can definitely tell them your author name, and if people want to find your books, they'll go find them. So I think that it's not so much like from regular novels to serialized fiction, like it doesn't really move that way. But I think there's maybe a little bit of a possibility to move them from serialized into regular formats. What were you going to say,
But
Laura?
I also think that like with books, because they get put out every few months, every 6 months, people are more likely to join newsletters so they don't forget. But I feel like with serialized fiction, because you're releasing, and I follow you a lot, so I always get a notification. This has gone up, new episode. Like, I just don't feel like those are the type of people that will follow you on a newsletter. I think they're more like follow you on social media or just follow you directly on the app.
Yeah, I don't think I agree. I don't think they'll necessarily go looking for your newsletter, but I think they might go looking for your books. Like I think they might be like, oh, she's got other books she's written then on Amazon. I can go look for that. So it's a possibility there. But yeah, I think.
Did you feel that? Did you feel like you got more sales?
I would say probably not yet, but I haven't pushed it a lot, and I've been writing under pen names so far.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I start like my rom-com that I'm writing right now, I'm going to publish it on Vella under my name. And that one, I'm going to try and promote my other rom-com series in my author notes on that one. So give me 3 or 4 months, and maybe I'll have a little bit more of an idea on that if it's possible. It's just something I'm guessing.
I will say I have had one person email me from my website saying they found my books on Radish. So it is a possibility. I don't remember if I emailed them back because I hate email, like with a passion of 1,000 fiery suns. But like, so they will go find you. So definitely.
Yeah,
but
you just have to.
I don't know if that's what you can bank your whole career on.
No, I would say it's like just like a bonus that you might get. But like you said, there's so many other good reasons to go to serialized fiction anyways. With other platforms, it can give you another way to sell your backlist because you've already created the product. You might as well find new customers to sell it to. And with Kindle Vella, just put it up there first while you're writing it. And then it's always going to have the opportunity to just add another revenue stream. So how do you market? You've talked about TikTok some, which I don't do TikTok very good yet, but I do think that that's a great way to market serialized fiction. Are there any other ideas? Do you do anything for yours, Laura?
Well, on Radish, they actually have in-house promotions that you can apply for. And they're free and they're normally themed and they change each month, and it's just a quick Google form. I shot myself in the foot. I can't apply for any of them because my books don't actually meet the expectations, like the terms. So be mindful if you're uploading onto Radish. Make sure that every episode, for example, they allow it to be 750 words. But actually, if you want to have it promoted by them, it's got to be 1,200 words. So just be mindful of those there, because it makes it very difficult to advertise your story if you can't get those in-house promotions. I'm in a couple of groups of a lot of these serialized, writing communities, and everybody says that for Radish particularly, you want those in-house promotions. And also, it's on the topic of saying about the books you have available. It's also worth remembering that on Vella, I think it's fine. You're allowed to say that you have other books that are published on Amazon because it's not a competitor. But if you do mention Amazon, which I did a few weeks ago and got told off, Radish does not want you to say my books are on Amazon.
Gotcha.
So they want to keep they want to keep everyone on Radish.
Yes. And Amazon wants to keep you on Kindle Vella too, but they're not going to complain too much if you say like, you can go to my website or like, So the other question that kind of like bounces off this a little bit is that of ads. Have you any idea if ads would be effective for serialized fiction? Because from what I'm seeing, they so far aren't like like you can get people there, but you're losing money most of the time, right? So or breaking even. It's not really
there's not enough money in it.
it's not enough
I don't
money in
think.
it yet. Yeah.
And also, I do think it's important to remember the demographics. I mean, I came from a background of reading, I don't know if you guys know the app Episodes. I was really addicted to it back in like 2013. And they're cartoons and like they're people, and it's like very angsty high school. Like I was so addicted to it. And it's like that you choose your own story. And then I moved over to Wattpad and Radish. And the thing I find interesting from my research is the demographic people who are reading these apps. I don't know about Vella. I don't know if Vella has an app. Do they have an app they can read through?
You just read through the regular Kindle app.
Okay, so that's interesting. So a lot of people are reading on their phone, and so they're like on the go, or they're in bed, like they've got insomnia. So like the type of writing that you do is really got to be catered for that. Someone who's got very low attention.
Yes. That's like, so one of the questions we were going to talk about today was like, do you write it differently? And it's like writing, yes, but it's almost a formatting thing. So like, you just have to picture like what it looks like on a phone screen versus like on a bigger Kindle, for example. So yeah, like you have to break up your paragraphs a lot more so you don't end up with like a whole screen full of just text. But it like kind of pushes you as an author, I think, to make your writing more immediate and, fast paced and hooky and all that sort of stuff. I think that in general, it really helps you to improve your ability to hook a reader and keep them moving instead of getting kind of stalled out or skipping parts. If readers start skipping on Kindle Vella, I think you're kind of dead in the water. But what do you guys have any suggestions for how to write good specifically for serialized fiction while I plug my computer in?
I was going to say back to ads. I would be, first of all, I would not run ads to Kindle Vella because that's not your job. It's Kindle Vella too. So you're just kind of promoting Vella to a cold audience of people who've never heard of it. And if they do sign up, there's a possibility you can lose them. So I would not. And the other thing is that I would not promote to an unknown platform with ad copy you have not pre-tested. So if it's ad copy that's not working on TikTok, it's ad copy that's not working on Facebook, it's ad copy that's not working with your newsletter, don't put it on an ad and throw it up. You will just waste money. If you find a way to really hook your reader in a TikTok, in an Instagram post, something, that would be what I would use then if I was to do ad copy. But I think one of the biggest problems people start out with is that they just throw every and anything up there, and then they're just pumping money to an unknown platform. Like, you really have to hook your reader to the point where they are going to murder someone if they do not find that book and that scene and they get to read it. So if you're not capable of doing that, or you don't know how yet, even though in our minds, like I was using, it's Hallmark and Austen Land had a baby, like that was for Christmas Land, and that ad copy has never gotten me anywhere. And yet if I put that up on Kindle Vella, I'd be pumping money to it, not making that money back. And so like, I would just, if you don't know how to sell your book really well, don't send people to an unknown platform. Because at least with Kindle Unlimited, there's enough people there that can like, or even an ebook, like I'll just buy the ebook, I'll buy but with Kindle Vella, it's just so, I don't even think there's a Kindle Vella target on Facebook yet. I mean, maybe Serialized Fiction, but I would not recommend doing it. I would find other ways to market it.
So go ahead, Laura.
What I was going to say about writing for serialized fiction, two of the major stories that are trending on Radish at the moment, one is a paranormal romance torn between alphas, and then another one is a billionaire romance that is called The Billionaire's Surrogate. And what I have noticed is they write long, so they don't just write like a 50,000 word novel and turn it into, actually it's more like a 100 chapter long, like it's been going for many years kind of story. And then the second is that I've read a few of these. The writing is always very concise, and it's very like, you don't need to describe a room. Like, you don't even really need to describe much of anything. It's all about feelings and speech, lots and lots of dialogue, way more than you would find in normal literature. And you have to have a lot of like intrigue and tension and questions, way more than you would normally have in books, because people are falling asleep or they're on the go. They just want something really quick and snappy. So
yeah, absolutely. An interesting thing also that I'm trying to like look up actual numbers on, and I'm not sure that I'm gonna get it. Let me see. There, for your like description for your story, like on Amazon, you can basically have as long of a description as you want to have, but on Kindle Vella, you can only have 500 characters for your story description, which is not very much at all. It ends up being like way less than you think it's going to be. So let me look on my King's Prep Academy story. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sentences. I mean, hold on, like that. Ooh, that's how long my description can be on Kindle Vella. That's all you get. You don't get to like play with formatting where you can have different lines and different paragraphs and everything like that, because they're trying to keep it concise for a phone screen. So they may reading the description is going to like get it all in one like neat little package and everything. So like that's just one more place where you have to be concise. You have to like have strong copywriting skills. So you have like to really know what's going to grab readers' attention. There's none of this like give lots of details and all the subplots and like all this sort of stuff. Like you have to get to the real hooky heart of your story when you write your description on serialized fiction, and
I would say on Radish,
so we don't have tons of time yet, so let's start grabbing some of these questions over here.
Is she glitching for you, Laura?
Yeah. We've got Minecraft, Michelle. Yeah.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, you're oh, there you cleaned up. Now
no.
Now you're back. Can you hear us? We're getting like mosaic, Michelle. It's very cool looking. Like you were painted. I know. Maybe go out and come back in.
You guys take over then.
Oh, she wants to message us.
Okay.
I would say that on my Radish account, they took both my women's fiction and they took my fake marriage series. My fake marriage series does a lot better. So I have a sinking suspicion that romance does better serialized than women's fiction, but it could just be the way they marketed it. Again, I might have done it differently, but that's what they wanted. And I just told them, hey, run with it. I want nothing to do with it. So go ahead. So they did it. So Donna wants to know if Michelle's ever going to do a book on how to publish on Vella. I don't know. The problem with doing books is that they become dated very fast. So if she does, I would see Michelle doing more how to write serialized fiction than how to publish on Vella. So Michelle's always game for teaching stuff about serialized fiction and craft. Dina is asked, is Vella doing well? I hear there's a huge problem on Wattpad with plagiarism. Vella is very picky about finding like your stuff on other platforms. So I don't know if that's the case yet, but I think with any platform, Kindle Unlimited, any of the other ones, there's always a problem with plagiarism. So I mean, I wish we could stop it, but we can't. So, but yeah, I think that Vella's doing really well. So, it's still a baby. It's still in the infant stages, and it'll be interesting to see once it goes international how it does. What about this? Do you know anything about this, Laura? Do you need to copyright the stories as you publish?
Well, I mean, I don't copyright stories like books, because at least in my country, like like when you publish something, it's copyrighted under your name anyway. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what the rules are about serialized. I'm guessing because it's probably falling under the same. If it's published under your name or a pen name that's attributed to you and your publishing company, then I could see it just falling under the same rules.
Yeah.
Because basically it's just proving you have
in and jumping out and jumping in and jumping out. And now she's back. And she's back. Yay. Baby. I answered your question for you, Michelle. Are you going to write about publishing? I said probably not, because publishing changes, but I could. Oh, she's gone again. Yeah, Laura is our new Victorine, who gets like the giggles, and she goes. Charlie said, "Can't believe Anne Marie is with us. Am I not normally with us? I would think I am." Who is writing a self-help book? Very exciting. I'll answer the question. You have a different copyright for every episode. Oh, there you go.
There you go. Cool. Wow. I would say on Radish and stories, the more tropey your story is, the better, because you can choose, I think it's 8 keywords that you can choose from this huge list. And that's where people are going to find your story. So if you've got like a billionaire single dad cowboy who is also in the mafia, like your story is going to rank really high. And my billionaire, I have 2 billionaire stories that do not very well. They have like thousands of views, and then stories that don't have the word billionaire in the title that don't have very much traction at all. Even like my story Love Me Like You Mean It, I thought, oh, it does so well, it's my best-selling book ever, I'll put it up on Radish. It's been up for like 3 weeks and it's had only like 500 views. So I'm like, interesting. So
I also wonder if it's covers too, because you don't get the same type of cover that you get with, a regular book. So you really want to have the showcase the sexy guy or the couple together to kind of indicate the tension that's in a story, which is important. Author Cassie asked, question either for this week or next. I'm a little stressed about the idea of boxing myself into a corner, not being able to edit precious stuff. So I think what you mean is like publish it and then not being able to change it is what I'm thinking what you are saying here.
Yeah. What are the rules on Vella? So on Radish, you have 7 days once you've published an episode that you can go back and edit it. Do you know if there's a rule on Vella? Can you go back and edit it?
You can edit episodes after publishing whenever you want. I mean, I understand, like, especially if you write, like, if you want to write, like, okay, say, like, I'm going to try fantasy. Okay, I don't like how zoomed in we are. I'm zooming us back out.
Thank you.
Like, you want to write, I want to leave some mystery into my skin pore size. But, like, I think, like, if you're like, I'm going to try a new genre, and you write, like, 3 or 4 chapters, and then you're like, oh, like maybe, and I publish them, and now but now I need the bad guy to be this person, not that person. Like, I can totally get how terrifying that is. I would probably suggest you write at least half your book before you publish it, if you're doing something you're not normally used to doing. I know Michelle and Cookie, they wrote romance anyway, so like if you know how to write it, then you're probably good for it. So
I made that mistake. I did that. It's embarrassing, but I watched Pretty Little Liars, and I'm so impressionable that I binged it and went, I'm going to write one. So I wrote a series called Devious Sweethearts or something. And I was like, this is going to be epic. And I'm going to be like the next Pretty Little Liars. It's like 4 episodes up, and I left it. So it's still there, like a stain on my name, and it's
this is what I didn't get about Pretty Little. I didn't get this about Pretty Little Liars because I was like, why is this girl so important that everybody wants to kill her? Like, they failed at. I'm like, who is this girl? Like, everybody is like selling their soul to like murder her or keep her murdered. I was just like,
yes,
super important. but she really wasn't. So I was kind of like, you're back, Michelle. Maybe. No, you're not.
No.
Kind of. We're here in spirit.
We still got Minecraft, Michelle.
You're gonna have to come to my house now, Michelle. I have better internet.
Am I though?
Oh!
But you look a little possessed
so loud
because your eyeball was like black, like a black hole. Oh, it's again. And that's that. So Catherine asked, did you have the entire book finished and scheduled before releasing? But you look. What is that? Is that me? So Catherine asked. Oh, that's Michelle.
Who is laughing? I thought it was me. So I was like, stop laughing, Laura. Then I was like, wait, no, it's not.
I have a good laugh. Don't say that. That was my laugh, Laura.
I didn't say it was a bad laugh. I was just saying who's laughing. I was confused. I'm very confused.
Well, if it was a laugh you enjoyed, you would be like, keep laughing.
Oh.
So. All right, we're gonna take Catherine's question. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. So what I did was I finished my whole book and I had a little bit of time to publish it, and so I did release it and scheduled it, and that was really nice. You just write it all and then you just upload it. But if you want to go on a more like journey with the story or allow interactions with your readers, then I would definitely say you don't have to do that. I guess it just kind of depends on, I guess it just kind of depends on your personality. Do you get really anxious? Do you need a lot of edits in your book? If you need a lot of core edits to your story, I would definitely write it first so you can work out all those kinks. But yeah, Michelle said you should have it all published beforehand if releasing as you go would stress you out. Pretty much, yes. Cassie said, maybe I'm just a negative Nelly, but I feel like people need to stop publicly saying that they would be okay with Vella even if the bonuses go away. Feel like Amazon will take them away then. Okay. Mindset. Cassie has us in our mindset that the bonuses will always stay around because Amazon loves their authors and everything we're doing for them. So good. Yes. Good. That's getting our mindset in the right place. Truthfully, I would not be okay if Vella took away the bonuses because then I would just go publish it somewhere else. So yes, that's not gonna negative Nelly. That's realism here. And I love it. Okay, cool. Well, I hope that we answered your question, Catherine. We'll wait a second or two to see if you have something more you want to add to that. If not, I think we will sign off.
This has been such a good talk. I love it. 8. Are you counting down?
Yeah.
I love
but the thing is, I mean, if you think about Kindle Unlimited has bonuses. So it has to happen. Like they have to keep bonuses to the top authors to keep them there. So I would think bonuses are definitely something Amazon will keep just because that's what they do with Kindle Unlimited. And since they are competing against other platforms, they have to give reasons for people to stay in. So I don't see them going away. Maybe they go less, but I don't know.
One more thing I think is worth mentioning, though. We've talked about Radish, we've talked about Vella. There are many others out there, but not all of them are equal. So just maybe do your research into which ones are going to be worth your time and not. Like there's one called, I can't pronounce it. I think it's Read ICT. That has got mixed reviews from authors. I know that their contracts can be quite rights grabby. So just if you're looking at doing serialized fiction with any app, just make sure that you read the contract and maybe even get some advice on the terms in there, because quite often they'll say something silly like, we want all of your rights, like we want your TV rights and we want your audio rights. So it's just worth doing your research on that. Not all of them are the same. They all have different terms and different rules. And honestly, I think I can't wait until Vella comes to England, because I think hearing from Michelle and these bonuses is certainly going to be better than Radish unless you sell a story to Radish, I think. Because I've made $20 this month on Radish, and that's like a good month. So it's just worth remembering that.
A takeaway that I took from Ram, there was someone else who was talking a lot about serialized fiction, was that we in the United States are not big on serialized, but it is huge in other countries. And I know Michelle touched on that, but so you may get emailed from people that look sketchy, but may not be. So I know, find these groups of serialized fiction authors on Facebook. So that way, if you do get offered, go there and say, hey, this person reached out to me. Is this a good company to go with? So definitely do your research and ask, but also don't just snub them, because it could mean, it could be another stream of income, you don't know. So, but just be careful, but also don't ignore, do all the things. So, all right. And Catherine, if you have any more questions, go ahead and ask them in the Writing Gals and tag one of us. Would be happy to answer it. But we're going to call it a day since Michelle's having technical difficulties. Hopefully next week she will not have any more technical difficulties. And we will see you guys later. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoy what you see here, and ring the bell so you can get notifications every time I go live. All right.
Thanks, guys. Bye.